Hello and welcome to That Shooting Show. My name's Steve Anderson. I am your humble host. I got some big news for you today, but first we got to thank our partners. First of all, we have Walther Firearms, proud title sponsor of this program and of AndersonShooting.com in general. The Walther PDP steel frame is the finest production type firearm I have ever laid my hot, sweaty hands on. I've laid my hot, sweaty hands on a lot of things, but of all the things I've laid my hot, sweaty hands on, the Walther PDP steel frame is the absolute finest out of the box production gun you can lay your hot, sweaty hands on. And of course, CR Speed, as you know, manufactures the finest gun handling gadgetry on the planet. The AMG-Lab.com Commanderson timer continues to turn heads and blow minds by putting the time into the tablet. Every glorious gunfire event is captured and transmitted to the tablet for inspection. And Targets USA manufactures the finest steel targetry on the planet. And Hunter's HD Gold used to be the only wear that I'm aware that I wear, but I just got my new Active Blues. And I put them on, and I was a little worried about the frame, so I sent a picture to my good friend who said to me, they look fashionably garish. Those were my words, not hers, but she said, yeah, they let you make a fashion statement and be goofy. Okay, if it's good enough for her, it's good enough for me. I'm going to keep rocking the Active Blues. I really like them so far. They darken up nicely outside. And of course, the frames are garishly fashionable. And you don't have to have garishly fashionable frames like I do. You can have whatever you want as long as it accepts two lenses. They can't do a one lens configuration, but they can put Active Blues in any frame you want to. And OutdoorDynamics.net remanufactures the finest competition ammunition you can dispense from a Freedom Seed dispenser. And ShootingSportsInnovations.com is a lot to type because there's a lot to see, and it is the official roadside sobriety test in North Carolina. You get pulled over in North Carolina under suspicion of the drinking and the driving, and if you can type out ShootingSportsInnovations.com on the first try, the officer will let you go because he'll be mesmerized by the vast cornucopia of shooting accessories available once you type them in. Also want to thank Steadfast Holsters for my new holster that hangs proudly on my CR Speed hanger. I do need you to go to upcoming classes and check out where we're going to be, what we're going to be doing. Coming up real soon, Richmond, California. Joey Soudan and I are bringing the complete practical shooter immersive experience to the Richmond Rod and Gun Club. It is an absolute game changer. If you want to reach your potential physically, mentally, technically, this is a game changer. Joey Soudan has used the AndersonShooting.com training model and performance model to go further, faster than anybody I can think of. Relative new shooter to multiple area champion, second in nationals last year in about 2 years. So if you want that kind of performance, you need to come check out what we have to offer. Doing the same thing in Michigan. And also want to let you know we have mental management scheduled in September. I believe they are Wednesdays in September, but go to AndersonShooting.com, upcoming classes, and you can find out where we're going to be, what we're going to be doing. You can sign up there. We're also going to be at the Double Eagle Range in the Poconos. I don't know if it's Poconos or Pocono. Not sure if the S is Island. Not real sure about that. But anyway, we're going to be there. And we're doing Nationals prep. So if you have Nationals coming up, we are going to prepare you for Nationals in the best possible way. We need to get some more folks engaged in that one. Just check out Double Eagle. I believe it's the Callahan Training Group. Google that, and you can sign up for that class there. You cannot sign up with that one from me directly. You got to go through Sam Callahan, who is a certified good dude. Now, I have had a lot of people reach out to me and say that they've noticed something new about Anderson. Something that causes me to be more excited, to be more passionate, to be the happiest I've been since I was 20 years old playing in the rock and roll band. And I've been trying to keep this a secret, but I think it's time for me to tell you what the change has been and why. So I made a connection, a very brief connection, a few years ago, but the timing was not right to really appreciate this connection. And shortly after my marriage ended and I came to Kentucky, the connection was rekindled, right? And so I'm here to tell you that the passion and the excitement, the enthusiasm, the renewed Steve Anderson is attributable to one thing and one thing only. You guys know the difference. You can see the difference. And it's because the connection that I have rekindled was none other than Limp Bizkit. I am here. I can tell you the secret. I have been rolling, because if you don't care, we don't care. There's a little bit more to it than that, but that's what I can tell you about publicly is my new enthusiasm for life can be attributed to rekindling. See, the first time it wasn't right? The circumstances weren't correct. I was entangled in other ways. Limp Bizkit was right there waiting for me. Here I am, been a big fan of yours for a long time, and I'm like, nah, I got to go over and do this other thing right now. I couldn't even be seen with Limp Bizkit, couldn't even be associated with Limp Bizkit. The risk to reputation was simply too great. But now that I am unencumbered by any other relationships, I can tell you that my new passion for life is attributable. I can now mention the unmentionable once and for all. The secret is out. The cat is out of the bag. It's a new diet. It's a new way of life. It's none other than Limp Bizkit. It's a very important secret to get out. But here's what I want to talk to you about today. I want to talk to you about your comfort zone for your performance. Okay? Every time you go to your local match, you know how you're going to finish. It may be where you want, it may be where you don't want, but you know. And if you've gone to regional competitions with competitors that are known to you, you also know in that environment how you're going to finish. You know this. If you're a contender to win, you know it. If you're middle of the pack, you know that. If you're at the bottom of your class, you also know that. These things can be changed. I was talking to another coach about this. This particular coach calls this a performance bubble, right? And as she's telling me about this, I'm thinking, okay, I know what this is. This is self-image, okay? This is 100p self-image. And I'm going to tell you all about it. Now, you're going to be like, oh, man, I liked it better when he was giving out technical tidbits. Now he's just talking in code. Well, I'm not really talking in code. I am serving up the secret on a silver platter. I'm going to tell you guys, again, exactly how to change this comfort zone so that what is normal is a lot closer to what you want. Right now, what is normal may not be what you want. But for the winners have made winning normal. So winning for them is what they want. It has become normal. That is how people dominate sports, locally, regionally, nationally. When winning becomes normal, it's easy. It's much, much easier. When it's out of your comfort zone, it actually scares you. What keeps us from the next level is a fear of failure that doesn't exist where we currently are. When you know you're going to be third, you know the two dudes that are going to beat you. When you know that, thinking about beating them scares you. Scares you. And this makes it very difficult for you to beat them. And I'm going to tell you why. So number one, performance is generated by the conscious mind, subconscious skill, and self-image. Okay, this is what generates performance. This is a system. If the conscious mind's not doing its job, the system breaks down. If we can't get access to subconscious skill, the system breaks down. If the self-image is poor, is afraid of results, is worried about results, the whole system breaks down. You need all of these components in tip-top shape if you want top performance. Okay, so the conscious mind kind of gets a bad rap when we start talking about performance, but it's really very important. The conscious mind is used to evaluate options and make decisions. This is the stage planning process. Now, most of you get a little too carried away during this. You spend too much time evaluating options and making decisions, and I'll prove it to you. How many times have you been beat with a poor execution of the greatest stage plan ever? More than you want to say out loud in your Subaru. How many times have you been beat with an inferior stage plan executed perfectly? Yeah, you don't want to talk about that one because you continue to think that going left or going right or going backwards or going forwards or taking this one over here and this one over there, you think that that's what you're missing. It is not. Stage plan is not that important, but the conscious mind still goes through that process. Evaluate options, make decisions, Commit those things to memory. That's when they become subconscious. They no longer require active thought. That's when you shoot your best. And once that is over, the conscious mind moves on to pretty girls and future plans. It moves on to writing songs and thinking about all kinds of other great things that you're going to do in your life. Conscious mind has moved on from stage plan, from skill. It's not needed anymore for those things when they become subconscious. So let's talk about subconscious skill. That's where your training resides. And if you're not keeping the conscious mind occupied away from the minutia of technical skill, you're not going to get access to your training. You're literally wasting your time training. And all self-image knows is what you tell it. If you go out and practice strong hand, weak hand, you tell self-image, we continue to suck at this. Self-image is like, yeah, I guess we're no good. Conscious mind hears about that and says, oh, you need me. But see, the conscious mind has forgotten how to do it. The conscious mind learned how to do it by evaluating options and making decisions, trained the subconscious, and then moved on to pretty girls and late night phone calls. Something far more interesting. Okay? So, when these things are balanced and working together, that is when you get great performance. But your performance and your self-image are always going to be the same in this state. Always. If you go out and train, tell yourself you're lousy at strong hand, weak hand, guess what's in your future? If you go out and tell yourself when you train, strong hand, weak hand is improving, then that is in your future. Okay, so this is what we need to do. The conscious mind is always in control of the imprint. When you are training, your conscious mind chooses whether this activity is productive or unproductive, whether this skill is improving or stagnating, whether you're getting better or you're staying in Suckville. Okay, performance and self-image is always the same. You know this is true. This is true short term. This is true long term. This is true all of the day and all of the night. This never changes. This never will change. And you're always going to finish near your comfort zone, short term and long term. Okay? Always. You always finish at your local match inside your comfort zone. Always. You know, plus or minus a place or two, but you know where it's going to be, and it's always accurate. Now, all of these things can be changed. Always. So let's look at some of the rules that people live by within a self-image environment. Let me know if any of these sound familiar. I always win my local match. Many of you are nodding your head. Yeah, I always win my local match. I screw the pooch at majors, but I always win my local match. That is always going to be true for as long as you believe it, until somebody scares you, till that up-and-comer clips you. And then you now see a shooter that can beat you instead of a shooter that you can beat. These predictions are always true. I never beat my nemesis. Right? All you local hot dogs are out there. You all got a giant bullseye on your back. Everybody's chasing you, but they're afraid of you. I can't beat Drew Maruski. I can't beat Jay Slater. Well, Jay Slater doesn't have any competition. I can't beat Jay Beal. I can't beat Gaz Evans. Right? And these predictions are also true because anytime anybody goes to a shooting match, they see shooters they can beat, shooters that can beat them. Shooters they are going to beat, shooters that are going to beat them. These predictions are true the vast majority of the time. I always tank the classifier. I was coaching a match in California one time with the mighty California Chad, and the RO literally said, walking from stage 2 to stage 3, I always tank stage 3. And I'm looking around going, is anybody else hearing this? He literally predicted his own demise on stage 3, and lo and behold, self-image offered it right up. He canine intercoursed stage 3 exactly how he has predicted. Now, that doesn't mean, well, actually it does. He'll shoot stage 3 so much better if he calls it stage 2.5 or stage 4, right? It's like leaving the number 13 off the elevator. You're going to perform a lot better. Now, I never shoot consistently. So here's a little pro tip for you. I need you to start referring to your mental game problems in the past tense. That's step 1 to letting go of these shackles. Otherwise, you're going to be Rusty Shackelford for your entire career. Now, these are factual tenets. They are tenets because they live in your head rent-free. They don't pay any rent. But they're also tenets, which are facts. These facts will always be true. I suck at strong hand, weak hand shooting. I'm great at hoser stages. I don't do well on movers. I tend to struggle on partials and steel. By the way, both of those problems can be solved by seeing what you need to see with iron sights or putting your dot in the middle of the target. Imagine that. So these are things that will be true for as long as you believe them. Even if you correct them technically, but you don't correct them in your self-image, it's still going to happen. Now, self-image is the rules that we live by that determine who we are. Okay? I like to drink beer in the evenings. That's who I am. That's what I do. I do not use illegal drugs. I do not smoke the marijuana. Those are rules that I live by. I never eat before 5 p.m. That's a rule that I live by. That makes me who I am. I've begun exercising every single day. Because when you get involved in Limp Bizkit, you want to be able to move around, right? You want to be able to have some functionality. You want to be a little bit more attractive to Limp Bizkit. So you do those things. You exercise. That's becoming who I am. I don't sleep as much as I used to. I used to go to bed at 9 and try to sleep till 11 because I was depressed. I was unhappy. Right? I didn't know what I was living for. But now that I've found Limp Bizkit, I know exactly what I'm living for. I'm living to be rolling, 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 rolling. Come on. Rolling, 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 rolling. What? Rolling, 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 rolling. Because if you don't care, we don't care. Such great stuff. But these are new rules that I live by. That's what has made me a brand new person, changing the rules that I live by. And you can do the exact same thing in your shooting. You can change abnormal ideas. Like I never listened to Limp Bizkit before. I had zero respect. I didn't know the power of Limp Bizkit. I didn't know the genius of Limp Bizkit. Now I do. Now I want to learn everything about Limp Bizkit I can possibly learn. This is great stuff. I want more of it. You could even call it a self-lactating nectar straight from the source. This is great stuff. I just wasn't in a place to receive it at that time. Okay? So, if there's an idea about your shooting that you don't like, you take the opposite idea and make it normal. Now, it's going to take a little bit of time, and it will not accept an immediate lie. It needs to be stretched. If you don't stretch it, let's just think about another piece of human anatomy that can do interesting things. There's a part of the body that can accommodate things, but not immediately. So there needs to be like kind of a stretching process before a really new big thing can be accommodated. So that's what you do. You don't start with the giant thing. You do a little stretching. Hey, we're getting used to this. You know, this is a little weird, but a lot of great things feel a little weird the first time. So we stretch it in baby steps. And here's what that looks like. You're not going to tell yourself, if you're in C class and you're shooting against Drew Maruski or Jay Beal or Gaz Evans or Joey Sauerland, you're not going to say, hey, I'm the best shooter here. Ignore that guy. It won't work. It'll be a negative imprint. What you can say is, I'm the best C class shooter here. I'm going to deliver the best C class performance I'm capable of, and I am absolutely the best C class shooter here. That's how you stretch it. I had a guy a couple classes ago, I'm 69 years old, I can't do it. I said, hey, you're the best 69er here. And isn't that a great person to be? I'm the best 69er on the range. I'm the best 69-year-old shooter here. And he was. And he did great, because now he believes in himself. Now he's changed his self-image to, I'm just an old dude, to I'm the best old dude here. Because we can't change how old he is, but we can change his perception of that. Okay? I'm improving rapidly and I'm ready for a win. This brings us back to the performance bubble. Okay? I'm improving rapidly. I'm outworking everybody. I'm ready for a big win. And you're also going to improve or enhance your performance bubble, where you're likely to finish, by creating a new comfort zone. Right? Here's all you got to do. If you want to beat somebody, if you want to be a national champion, a regional champion, world champion, there's two things you got to do. You got to outwork everybody else by a significant margin, and you got to make sure that you're the best competitor there. Okay? Because the best mental game is going to win the class, the division, ultimately the match. When two shooters face off and they're of similar skill, it is not the best shooter that wins. It is the best competitor that wins. We just got back from Cardinal Shooting Center in Columbus. These guys shoot together all the time. What a great bunch of dudes. Very, very positive, very helpful, very friendly to each other. And the guy that won the stage 2 and 3 doesn't normally win. But he did the best job of putting his dot in the middle of the target on those two stages. He didn't necessarily, well, he did. He's not really a better shooter yet, but on those two stages, he was by far the best competitor. So he won. He won. Okay? So you got to outwork them, out imprint them, out compete them. The best mental game wins. And the other thing I need you to do is maintain your gear meticulously. I want you to keep that thing lubed. I want you to keep it ready to go. I want you to double check your ammunition. I want you to case gauge your ammo in the barrel of your match gun. Don't trust these case gauges. The only thing that matters is the chamber of your competition firearm. And you know the noise it needs to make, plunk. It needs to go plunk, and it needs to fall out. If it doesn't do that, it doesn't go to the match. It's the same with the imprints to your self-image, by the way. Imprints to your self-image is like pieces of ammo that go in your ammo box. Can't do this, can't do that. Those are rounds. Get ready to get loaded into your mags. Can do this, can do that. Am getting better, am improving. This is going my way. Those are rounds of ammunition that can go into your into your magazines and be dispensed as glorious little freedom seeds. Okay, so let's maintain your gear meticulously. Sorry, I got to change the page here. Now, regarding the weather, I need you to train in any environment in which you're willing to compete. If you're willing to train in light rain, guess who's training in light rain? Raining is training. You're probably not willing to compete in a blizzard, so you don't have to train in one. But if it's weather that you're willing to go to a match in, 100-degree heat in the south, wherever it is, minus 20 in Wisconsin, if you're willing to compete in that environment, you got to train in that environment. And that is all there is to it. Okay? Now, regarding your goal for a specific competition, there is nothing you can do, not even with my wisdom and my help, to guarantee you're going to win a specific competition. But you can make yourself a contender to win. You can put yourself in a place where your performance bubble can deliver that result. Conscious knows what to do. Subconscious skills appropriate for the goal. Self-image is not worried about the results or is expecting a great finish. Okay? But regarding the weather, you're going to control what you can control and you're going to ignore it, except to say, this is good for me. If it's hot and you train in the heat, this is good for me. If it rains and you train in the rain, this is good for me. If it's windy and you like to shoot in the wind because you train it all the time, this is good for me. That might apply to PRS a little bit more, but typically if the weather is unfavorable, half the competitors will just give up. This is your time to shine. Hey, this is good for me. I'm a great range shooter. Okay? Now, let's see. If the goal is outside of your comfort zone, if you've never won an area, a state, a national match, but you're getting close, boy, Bridesmaid is the toughest place to be. You're so close. The reason this is so tough is you're tempted to put speed on it because it's usually time you're getting beat by. If it's points, that's easy. Bring me every fast, sloppy shooter in the world, and I will crank out champions over and over and over again. But if you're slow and accurate, it's a tougher nut to crack, especially if you're coming in second or third and you're a little off the pace. At the training opportunity, the mistake most people make there is they will literally rush, try, hurry at the match, and then slow down and get their hits in practice. I'm going to tell you one more time. The conscious control of speed is the single biggest problem in practical shooting. The second biggest problem is negative imprints during training. Okay? But when you become a contender, you've got to actively imprint this abnormal idea. Hey, I can win this thing. I am ready for a big win. I'm getting better. I'm a better competitor. I'm following all my mental management processes. I'm ready for my big win. I deserve this. Can't be afraid of something you deserve. Now, within your control, these are things that are within your control. Are you meeting or exceeding your written training schedule? Do you have a written training schedule? If you leave your training up to choice or chance, there's a chance you'll make the wrong choice. It's just as simple as that. And you can control the imprints to your self-image during training, and you must. Even if you're struggling, say, this is good. I'm not struggling, I'm experimenting. I'm not struggling, I'm getting better. I'm out here putting the work in. Control the imprints to your self-image. The conscious mind is always, let me find the conscious mind here, is always in control of the imprint. Always. And I'll prove it to you. When you're criticized by somebody you don't respect, it doesn't bother you at all. Conscious mind says this criticism is invalid because I don't respect this person. Happens very quickly. If you're criticized by somebody you do respect, It's a big deal. Conscious mind says, ooh, this is a problem. I really respect this person, and this criticism is valid. I'm guilty of this, so it becomes a much bigger problem. Now, you're also in control of your mental process if you take control of it. Consistency is created two ways. Choose your primary, sport, gun, division, master what you've chosen, trust what you've mastered. Well, I'm only in B class. Good. That means you've got it 65% mastered. You've got 65% of this thing licked. All you got to do is get to 69%, and then you can do a lot more licking. Well, there'll be a lot more licking going on in general. But at 65%, you've got it licked. 85%, you're master. 95%, you're in the top 5% of what a human being can do with a handgun, so you better act like it. I need you to make your improvements from competence and not incompetence. Okay? You are also in control of every shot you fire. You don't have to fire the gun on a poor sight picture. Now, you do and you are doing that, but that isn't a technical problem. That's 100% mental. Why in the world would you choose to fire the gun without an acceptable sight picture? It's dumb. It's really, really dumb in competition. So don't do that. We're going to come back to that in a minute. You're also in control of your performance process if you choose to be. Consistency is also the quality of your thoughts and your ability to duplicate them. And we measure the strength of the conscious mind very simply. Have I learned what to think about? Yes or no. Can I control it? Yes or no. If the answer to either one of those questions is no, if you don't know what to think about and or you can't control it, it's a weak conscious mind. Needs work. And preparation. You can out-prepare everybody if you choose to. Now let's look at what's out of your control. Ultimately, the results are out of your control. If you're trying to win your local match and Christian Seiler shows up traveling through your town, we can't control whether you win that match or not, no matter how hard you've worked. Okay, but that's beyond your control. You don't need to worry about that. The weather. You're going to over-prepare for the weather, and then you're going to ignore it. You've now controlled it. If you know it's going to be cold, prepare for that. If you think it might rain, prepare for that. Decide ahead of time what you're going to do. If it rains, this is my course of action. If it's hotter than I'm expecting it to be, this is my course of action. Okay? And the other competitors, you can't control who shows up. You can't control what division they shoot. You can't control what they do or say. But you can protect yourself from these ideas. It has nothing to do with you. And if you're feeling anxious, turn anxiety into strategy. Right? If there's something you're worried about, what are you going to do about it? It's an easy example to take it outside of shooting. Let's say you got a fireplace and you're worried about your house burning down. You got a couple of options. Put a fire extinguisher in every room, or don't use the fireplace. Well, I want to use the fireplace, but I'm afraid of my house catching fire. Well, do something about it. You'll get to a place where you've done every single thing you can do. And then you're going to burn the fire and you're going to enjoy it. That's how that works. Okay? Number 11. Well, most of you can't do this because you can't. But what if you had a book about your best shooting and how to duplicate it that you could refer to? What if you could literally have an instruction manual for your best performance? Hey, I did these things. I got this great result. Hey, I have learned these things in training. Hey, these are my goals. This is who I am becoming. This is what I am headed toward. But if you don't write these things down, you don't have a book about your best shooting to consult for advice. You got to do that. It's one of the 3 things people don't do when they leave mental management. They don't take the flowchart to the match. They don't write a book about their best shooting. They either don't do it at all or they do it incorrectly. It's not my fault. And they don't follow through on their directive affirmation. Those are the 3 things people don't do. And those are the 3 things that you need to do to get to the next level. So if you have a book about your best shooting and how to duplicate it, consult it if it's done correctly. And what if you're going to a new range, a new town, a new city, a new country, a new location? You need to familiarize yourself with this to whatever extent you can. Right? Ohio, I don't know. So the open match is in Alabama in October. I'm going to be there coaching a PCC shooter, so say hi if you're there. I don't know anything about Alabama in October. I would imagine it's going to be cool but not cold. I would guesstimate it's going to be in the 70s. That's my prediction. But I'm going to study that. I'm going to be ready for it. I'm going to be prepared. If I think it's going to be 70, I'm going to prepare for 50. I'm going to prepare for 85. If I think it might rain, I've got a raincoat. I'm going to be ready for all these things, right? If there's a time zone difference, I can think of one top competitor who at least tells people that he lives in the new time zone for a week or so before he gets there. So if it's a significant time zone difference, you can live in that time zone for a week. So you don't have to worry about jet lag. So you're accustomed to going to bed and getting up in a different time zone. And you want to maintain your dietary and your chemical intake so that nothing's changing. You don't really want to be trying new food. You don't really want to be altering caffeine, nicotine, alcohol, things of that nature. You want to keep those things the same. And you for sure don't want to increase them. Okay, you for sure don't want to do that. And then what I want you to do is create a process to provide a result. If you know you're a contender for a new place in your performance bubble, a new achievement that's slightly outside of your current self-image, I want you to create a process to provide that result. It's two things you got to do. Create a subconscious stage plan with positive imprints. This is what I'm going to do and I can do it. And then surrender to a singular focus, which is usually tied to vision. Yet again, I made a lot of money this past weekend teaching people that when they control where their bullets go, they're in control of their score. And if you got a dot gun and you're choosing to fire that gun without the dot in the middle of the target where you want the bullet to go, that's dumb. That's really, 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 really dumb. Don't ever do that. I'm afraid I'm going to be slow. That's why people do it. But the time it takes to put the dot in the middle of the target is usually 3 to 5 hundredths of a second. And if you're out there doing this dang doubles drill and you're wondering why your second shot is low, it ain't the springs, it ain't your grip, it ain't anything else. It's your sight picture, stupid. You're choosing to fire the gun without a second sight picture, so you have no idea where the bullet's going. That's dumb. Splits are the greatest risk for the least reward. It's dumb to go chasing splits. It's just dumb. So you're going to restrict your conscious mind right before you shoot to something regarding vision. I will see what I need to see. I will center the dot and call the shot. That's how you're going to get your best shooting. Come see me. I'll prove it to you. Now let's talk about knowing results, checking results. It's fine if you want to avoid this in the short term. I get it and I support it. But ultimately, you need to be able to handle it. You need to be able to handle knowing what the results are. Okay? Because eventually you're going to find out. If you made an error and you're doing more poorly than you expected, you should have already made the correction. If you're in mental management, you made the correction right away. But you should have already made the correction. And I promise you, if you're doing worse than normal, outside of weird malfunctions or things like that, you're choosing to fire the gun without an acceptable sight picture. You're suffering from a temporary lapse of visual patience. That's the only problem you're going to have, outside of weird random occurrences or injuries or things like that. Okay? That should have already been corrected as soon as it happened. And if you're more successful than you expected, don't be surprised. Be happy. Reinforce what you are doing to get a better than normal result. Don't be scared. See, what happens if you're doing better than expected is you don't think it's you that's doing that. You have like a short-term imposter syndrome. I don't know who's out there winning stages, but it ain't me because I don't do that. Self-image, comfort zone, performance bubble. Doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what's normal. And if you're doing better than expected, what you want is becoming normal. So reinforce specifically what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, you can't keep doing it. Okay, now, if you have a significant amount of time prior to the match, I want you to set your goal and over-prepare. And think of it this way. If you're 3 months outside of a match, are we 3 months to open PCC? We're pretty close. Start your preparation now. Log your preparation. And think of it this way. Imagine getting to Talladega and finding out the match has been canceled, but the winner will be determined by documents of preparation. Right? So you submit your written preparation. Here's what I did. Here's how I prepared. Here's what I did physically, technically, mentally. The person with the best preparation will be declared the winner. And it's going to be exactly the same when the match is actually held. The person who prepared the best is going to win their class, their division, ultimately the whole thing. So you can over-prepare. You do have time. And then you got to ask yourself a hard question. If you're a contender to win your class, division, or match, whatever that looks like to you, and you come in second at 2% off the pace, the reason is either going to be speed, accuracy, or mental game. And you know this. So if you're trying to win M class or A class and you come in second place, you already know why. And you need to be fixing whatever that issue is. If it's speed, I need you in speed mode. If it's accuracy, you got to learn match mode. If it's just general mental mistakes, you got to come take mental management, because we can fix all that very, very quickly. And you have time to create a new set of habits and attitudes to make it more likely that you'll win. 3 months is a great amount of time. It only really takes 21 days to change your habits and attitudes into that of a contender that is able to win class, division, whole shooting match. Oh, that's it. That's number 15. Okay, so performance bubble is a term that another coach has used in a forthcoming book. I think of it as a self-image comfort zone. They're very, very similar. Very, very similar. You got to change your habits. You got to change your attitudes. Attitudes are settled or established ways of thinking or feeling about something. Meaning, if you hate strong hand shooting and you think you suck at it, and you go practice it, that may fix the technical issue, or that may improve that. But if you don't also change your attitude into I'm getting better, I'm good at this, the technical improvement won't appear, because subconscious skill is always filtered by self-image. Meaning, no matter how great your skill is, you do not get access to it if you're afraid of it or if you don't believe you can do it well. And ultimately, changing these habits and attitudes, that's all these are. These are habits and attitudes, courses of actions, things you can control, right? This all goes into your self-image comfort zone to ultimately provide a much better finish. So please go to andersonshooting.com, click on upcoming classes. Please check out the Callahan Training Group for the event in the Poconos Mountains, and let's get some free classes for some new class sponsors. We've got November, December pretty wide open still. There are some things going on in November, December. Please let me know, hey, I want a free class. Hey, I can get us on a range. Just send me an email. I want a free class. It's very, very easy to do. I make it super, super easy. So let's do this thing. Let's quit screwing around. Let's commit to something. Let's get this done. All right? Let's do this. Okay, so there's your 15 tips on increasing your self-image comfort zone and raising your performance bubble. Hope you've enjoyed today's program. Until we meet again on the range, on the Zoom, on a late night phone call, or a text every now and then with a machine gun bill drill text tone, be like me, do what I do, say it with me, 1, 2, 3, keep rolling, baby. Love you, bye. Get to work.